Welcome to the Peaceful Life Podcast. This is your host coming to you from a cabin in the woods in the beautiful mountains of California. This podcast is about returning your life to peace and joy. Together, we can approach various subjects with strategies, stories, visualizations, and hopefully some inspiration to make your life more peaceful. Today's episode is about simplicity and how simplicity creates peace. You've probably heard about the simple living movement. People are applying simplicity to their spending, their homes like tiny houses, minifying the wardrobe, so many things. And it's catching on because they're finding that they're happier. Now, I wouldn't go so far as to say everyone must live in 400 square feet. I certainly do not. But in the past year, I have downsized my home, and I've learned a lot about simplifying during the process. The first thing a realtor tells you when you're selling your house is to declutter, getting rid of all the fridge magnets, personal decor, knickknacks, take down half of what you've hung up on the walls, put it in boxes and storage in your garage, anywhere out of sight. So I did. I put things in drawers, packed up my bookshelves, sold stuff on my local Facebook swap group, and as I did, something happened to me. I felt less stress and more peaceful. I loved the look of my home decluttered, and it just made me happy. Within a week, I got a great offer on my home, and I accepted it. A couple of days later, I was at a thrift store, and a little orange book caught my eye. It was called Clutter Busting, Letting Go of What's Holding You Back. After going through my decluttering, I figured it would be a good guide to help me in the packing and moving process. Now, I don't say this about many books, but this book literally changed my life. So the author of Clutter Busting, Brooks Palmer, was kind enough to grant me an interview. However, the audio did not turn out as well as I expected, so I cannot include it in this podcast. But I will go over some of Brooks' philosophy and points that he made and answers to my questions. First, I asked him, how do we start clutter busting? Sometimes it feels overwhelming if you have a lot of stuff in your home. His response was to just start with either one small area or set a timer and only do it for a specific amount of time. That way you don't feel overwhelmed. And when you're going through your stuff, take it one piece at a time. Hold something up, and it helps if you have a partner to do this with. Hold it up and ask yourself, does this item serve me? Do I need this, and does it make me happy? If you don't have an immediate reaction of yes, absolutely, then set it aside, because this is something that you probably can let go of. Now, simplifying your environment brings you happiness and joy because each item has to be acknowledged, whether it's consciously or subconsciously. So as you walk into the room, into your bedroom or your living room, each item is going to take your acknowledgement and a piece of your attention. And when there are too many things that take your attention, your mind starts wandering. Again, even if it's subconsciously, and the clutter in your environment starts cluttering your mind, and you can become nervous and upset without even knowing why. Now, you have no control over the people you live with. You might have a mate or children that have clutter, and you can't help anyone else declutter, but you can set the example. You can have your children participate in helping you declutter, And then you can turn around and say, maybe we can do this for your room. Maybe there are some toys and some clothes that you don't use anymore, and we can donate them to children who will need them. In this day and age, we tend to purchase things for our children so much more so than we received ourselves as children. And perhaps it's compensating for what we wish we had had in our lifetime. But if you take a look around at your own children and your friends' children, you will realize that they don't need all this stuff. We're going to cover this in the money episode, but not only is it healthy to clean out what your children are not using, but also be mindful of your purchasing when it comes to your children and their entertainment and their possessions, and teach them responsible consumption. It's important to be honest with yourself when you're going through your stuff. Does this item really serve you, or are you keeping it because maybe somebody gave it to you, or it represents a memory that you're holding on to? You should only retain your clothes, your shoes, your stuff that makes you happy and that serves a purpose and that you actually use. And let me add that clutter can come in many forms. It doesn't even have to be physical things. It could be relationships. It could be your job. It could be emotional clutter and mental clutter. So approach these mindfully and see how you can simplify in every aspect of your life. You can read more about Brooks Palmer, his philosophy, and upcoming events on his website, clutterbusting.com. But I really encourage you to pick up the original book, Clutter Busting. You can't have mine because I'm keeping it forever. Write me and tell me your stories of how you've simplified your life. I also welcome comments and feedback about our shows. You can find other episodes through the website, thepeaceful.life, or SoundCloud. And if you feel moved to help me sustain this project, please consider becoming an ongoing supporter at patreon.com/peaceful. Remember, you are an amazing human being. Just by listening, you're changing your life for the better. You've been listening to the Peaceful Life Podcast.